Hi, so I thought I'd do a little tutorial today to show you how I manage cutting really slippy fabric. So I'm going to be making the Adrienne top, which is a top it's quite simple in construction, I suppose. It's just got one piece on the front, one on the back, but then we've got these very big voluminous balloon sleeves to deal with. So the fabric that they suggested that we use was something that was jersey, because it needs a bit of stretch. It needs to have some negative ease so it can cling to my body a little bit more when it's on. But it needs to have lots of swish and drape to make the most of the sleeve area. So I've got some Tencel fabric. Let me show you it. So this is a piece I've already cut, but this is it. So it squashes up to nothing. It's incredibly soft. It's a Tencel that I bought from Stone Fabrics. I was trying to think then. Yeah, it's Stone Fabrics. So if you want to know more about that, just ask. But it's incredibly drapey, very thin, very drapey, which means that it slips like a good one when you're trying to cut it out and work with it. So I thought I'd show you how I'm going to go about cutting my pieces. So let me just move the camera down to the deck there. So this is the piece already that I've folded over, because this is the panel piece. This is half of the sleeve here. Oh, wonky camera. This is half of the sleeve here, and not doing very well here, am I? Sorry. There's lots of it, and we've got a fold line here, so it's actually going to be double the width. It's going to be very, very thick. It's very, very wide. So I've got my fabric here that I've already folded over, so I've got that in place, and I'm going to lay my pattern piece on top. So the important thing here is that I line up this edge here. Now, obviously we tend to go to using all of our pins to keep everything in place, and then we can either use our scissors or our rotary cutter to cut around the edge. But what I want to show you is what I do when we're working with relatively straight lines, nothing too complicated. And what I want is to make the minimal amount of movements on this fabric area, because as soon as I lift up my scissors and put them to the fabric, let me move down here, things start moving like that, you see. And we really, really don't want that, because we're going to get really horrible edges. So I'm just going to lay it up to the edge, and then I'm going to go to a couple of things. I've got my long rulers, so I'm just going to use that, lay that in place there. Lay that one there, so it's all laying things nice and flat. And then I've got this piece, which is my clapper, so I may as well just put that. All we need to do is create some weight on the fabric. Let me move that back so we can see. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about cutting. So I've got my rotary cutter here. I know you can't see my head, you don't need to see my head. Got my rotary cutter here. It's got a new blade in it, so it's super, super, super sharp. Okay, and what we're going to do, like I say, is minimal amount of movements on this. So I've got my short ruler there, my long ruler there, and I'm going to go in and straight away do this very long cut here. Move that over just a little bit. So I'm just going to line that up to the edge of my paper here, and I'm going to start on my green mat, little finger off the edge of the ruler to give it a bit of an anchor, and then I'm just going to whiz it straight up. Because I'm not going to use this bit of fabric here, I'm just going to continue it off to remove it, which means that now I can just sweep that across out of the way, which is a really, really good place to be. Obviously, if there was lots of fabric there, I would have reconsidered that, but in this case, it's absolutely fine. So now I'm going to do this bottom cut down here. So I'm going to move that ruler up, sliding the ruler, nothing else, nothing has moved. And I'm going to take my little ruler, not taking it off the paper, just gently sliding it over and down into place here. And now I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm lined up, so I'm level here and I'm level across the bottom here, taking my blade off the edge of the mat here, and I'm going to go and do one nice clean move. About 2/3, slide the ruler up and off and take that fabric away there. So we're nearly there, but we've got this complicated shape here that we're going to have to deal with. So this is quite exciting. Let me make sure that the camera is in a good position for you. If you see any mess along the way, I apologise. So we've got this angle here to do, this curve here to do. So I think I'm going to take this one on next. So a bit like Tetris, isn't it? I'm going to slide them down, slide it down, not touching. Slide that one up to give it a bit of weight. Now, I'm going to freehand cut this because I'm using the blade and I can get nice and close. If I get any closer, it's all going to get kind of in the way, and that's where I might have problems, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not left-handed, so I can't rotate and go that way. I'm not going to pin because we're going to create an up-down kind of environment. It won't look good. So I'm just going to move it away, put my fingers on there just because it gives me some kind of comfort. And as I would, just have a bit of confidence, off onto the mat first, straight along, and go all the way off, like that. Now we're going to take on the curve. Right. Bear with. Wobbly wobbly camera time. Just want to make sure you don't miss anything here. Okay, so if I move that up, then it'll give you a better vision. So you can see we've not moved this fabric at all. We've only moved what we don't want to be using. So now I'm going to make one cut straight down here. See, that's lifting a little bit here. So what I've done is I've moved this ruler over just to press it down a little bit more, and that works fine. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Start on the green mat, work my way in and go as close as I dare, but not right up to that edge. Now my blade's really nice and sharp. Can you see that's there? Yeah? My blade's really sharp, so I've got a bit of confidence here to go straight in and give it a bit of pressure to make a cut. Down, I'm cutting down, and take the blade around. Close the blade off, and that's where we're at. Now all we've got is this tiny, tiny little corner area. No problem at all. Get your nice sharp scissors. Still not moving anything. One final cut there. One final snip into there. Oh. And we did it without moving a thing. And what I'm hoping to show you is that every single edge is perfectly straight and perfectly clean. You see? It's not jagged. It's not scruffy. Really, really neat. So have confidence, have the right tools, and just remember you need to keep things as still as possible when you're working with slippy fabrics. And sometimes the best thing to do is not use pins at all, which might feel counter-conduitive to you, but honestly it's the best thing you can do. You can buy paper weights, you can make your own weights out of washers. There's various things that you can do to create the same effect that will make sure that everything stays down and stays flat. Like I say, when we use pins, what we don't always recognise and realise is it actually, because of the way we pin in and out, it creates this, it's only subtle, but it is a wave effect. And when you cut, that wave will go with it and it will create this kind of awkward appearance, really, making it much harder to deal with later on. I hope you found that useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe. And I always appreciate any comments and feedback that you have. Take care, have a good day.